major difference is that in India, lots of people wrote memoirs. So in the US, most people, if they are actually interested in math and science, they are able to understand it in their own way. They're able to find so many resources about tutoring. But in India, lots of people are forced into the math and science pipeline, even though they don't want to. So that means that most of them only have room and only have time for just memorizing the definition from the book. But one positive thing I will say India has, that in the US, as the education system is much less rigorous and teachers are often much less inspired and have much less qualifications than in India, where often teachers have PhDs and have worked in the field for a very long time. So both education systems have their very big pros and cons. I think that there are no one formula. It obviously depends on what your situation is and what your circumstances are and what you and your family have the money to buy. I myself have been very lucky to be in the circumstances that I am, because even though we're worse off than a lot of people, we are better off than most people. So I'm so grateful for what I currently have on myself, because most people don't even have the money to go afford a tuition or afford a good education or even afford tutoring. So I think that the recipe to success is different for every person. But if you have the same amount of resources as I've had, then I think that uh, the most the most consistent strategy is just to always seek help at every step of the way, because you can never do anything big all by yourself. No matter how big or how strong you are, it always takes the contributions of someone else in part to succeed. So that's why I think it takes lots of help and lots of teaching in order to get where I am today.
Do you think New Indian education policy NEP is equivalent to world education policy?
So I don't know much about the multi-government's new plan for the education policy, but what I do know is that it will be standardizing education, be on the same system as Western education, especially with 11th and 12th grade now being added to high school.
Yes.
And while I don't think I can comment on that because it's kind of a minor change, just changes what building students will be going to. If there were any changes in the curriculum to make it more flexible, I think that would be highly needed by many students.
So as we came to know that viewers back you have visited Washington for an interview, and that interview you have replied some history level question and answers, and overnight you become the internet sensation. So what was the question? Can you remember? If you share with us at least one or two question and answer.
So first off, I don't think it was PhD level. It was simply about the periodic table. And second of all, it was when I was 2 years old, which was more than a decade ago. So I cannot remember the question, of course. And the records of it, I can't find on the Voice of America channel where it was recorded. So, of course, I cannot remember that question on me right now. But surely there's probably an archive of it somewhere on our own channel, Very Science Lab, which you should visit and subscribe to.
So when you ask what is the message to the new generation or new students about this program or this program?
I think that it's always important to actually understand everything behind math and science instead of just memorizing it, because your PhD and your future in math and science requires creativity, because a PhD requires discovery of at least one new thing. No matter how small it is, has to be something no one has thought of before. So any robotic format is not going to work. You have to actually understand what you're working with and be creative enough, have the creative thinking to utilize and apply those things in order to actually make a new discovery. That's what I think our new generation needs.
Every youngest understand of the present world. We have expectation, only expectation for you. So, here's my answer. How can the students, younger students, develop their mind regarding the science and technology, the present situation?
I think that the present situation for younger students and their perspective on math and science is very, very bad. Most of them hate science. Most of them say they're bad at math and science. Most of them say it's for nerds and that's why they don't do it. They just feel like in some way math and science education is not helping them in one way or another. And that's why I think we need to not only reform our education, but for the time being a practical solution to seek help from other sources. Not just textbooks, but simulations, your own family, your friends, professors, a nearby community college or something. You have to seek more than just your teacher and your textbook. So I think that that's going to be what helps the newest generation in their perspective on science the most.